What's up guys, it's your boy CJ here, back with you with another video. I hope you guys are doing well. I'm doing pretty well myself. Anyway, for you probably can judge from the title of this video, we're going to be talking about the differences between the Godox Vl-300 right here, this beast right here, and of course the Nanlite FS-300. Oh. Alright, the FS-300 from Nanlite as well as the Godox Vl-300 are the higher end of the consumer market LED lights. They're primarily geared towards more portable users because number one, they're really powerful lights, and number two, they are relatively in small form factor. Now, without further ado, let's start with what's in the box. In the box, you're gonna get a couple of things. First thing, you're gonna get a cable, you're gonna get a reflector, and the light itself. Pretty simple, pretty self-explanatory. There are no case whatsoever, which is, a bit sucks, but it is what it is. On a Godox, on the other hand, you're gonna get a whole lot more stuff. First thing you're gonna get, of course, is the light itself, a reflector, a power cable, a control unit, a power brick, another power cable, and a connector cable between the power control unit and your light itself. And of course, last but not least, you're gonna get a giant carrying case to fit everything inside. Alright, next let's talk about the function wise and what's the difference between these two lights and what functions it provides. Alright, so for the functions of the Vl-300 versus the FS-300, I have to give the props to Nanlite for this one. They are able to cram in a whole bunch of functions that just can't be compared whatsoever. And I would think that any of you out there, especially filmmakers, will really appreciate this. So for the FS-300, you're gonna have quite a number of functions. The first one would be in the interval loop. The second one, the flash, the pulse, the storm TV, the paparazzi, the candle or fire, the bad bulb, the fireworks, the explosion, and the welding. These functions are really incredible, and props to Nanlite for being able to cram all these functions into the Nanlite itself. Really kudos to them. However, this also says that it's quite sad for Godox Vl-300. For all its power and glory, it only has a static effect. So it's quite sad, but then again, it is what it is. So now that we talk about the function, let's talk about setting them up. Both of these lights are pretty straightforward to set up because of their small form factor. They're LED lights and they come in a pretty tight package with not really much to really hook it up. The main difference between the two, you probably can realize from what's in the box, is that the Godox Vl-300 has significantly more parts. However, with these significantly more parts, they also come with a much more ease of access, I would say. Now, what do I mean by these ease of access? You probably realized from the Godox Vl-300 that there was a couple of extra parts which are including a controller, a couple of connectors, extra connectors, unlike the Nanlite FS-300, which only comes with the LED light itself and the cables. Now, why do they come with these extras? Because number one, the Godox Vl-300 is actually designed for outdoor use as well. So the Godox Vl-300 actually has a controller which allows for you to put in VL mount batteries behind that controller itself, so you can bring it outside to be used. It can use 2 VL mount batteries to be exact. Now furthermore, the Vl-300 also offers the flexibility whereby the controller is not on the light itself, but is actually on the controller itself, which is really easy. So in case that you want to set up your light really high up in the air, this controller really adds the flexibility of you don't need to climb a stool or anything all the way up there to have to control it. It provides everything down with the controller, really easy and really flexible. Not to mention, they also offer an app function, as well as giving you a remote, which you can control remotely, which is a great function. However, that is also to say the Nanlite FS-300 also has its perks. The Nanlite FS-300 actually comes at a price point of 1,500 ringgit Malaysia, whereas the Godox Vl-300 comes at a 3,200 ringgit Malaysia, which is double the price of the Nanlite FS-300. So you probably can understand that why they decided to not provide as much functions, as much commodities comparing to the Vl-300, because number one, you basically get what you pay for. That's basically it, in my opinion. Now let's talk about the brightness of these two lights right here. These two lights are, of course, 300 watt lights. They're really powerful, of course, but however, when I researched about them, how bright they would go, and for me, I don't have a measuring device to actually calculate how bright they go, so I decided to do a quick Google search. For the Nanlite FS-300, it actually states that it allows for 36,730 lux of light, which is, you know, quite bright, you know, at full power, with a reflector balance at a 1 meter range. So that's how they measured it. Now for the Godox Vl-300, I've looked through the manual itself, because since the manual already stated it, I'm just going to read it from the manual. It says that with the usage of the included reflector and measured at a 1 meter distance, same as the Nanlite FS-300, it says that it provides 77,000 lux of light, which is, I would say that that means it's double of nearly. Well, it's doubled, basically about double of the Nanlite FS-300. However, from my tests, they are pretty much the same. I would say that these would, of course, have to factor in your surrounding lightings and, of course, the type of reflector you use and several other factors that may be in play, which I'm not equipped to measure it. So I'm just going to read from what I'm provided. So yeah. All right, now that that's out of the way, let's talk about the ventilation. First, let's take a look at the Vl-300 ventilation. At the bottom, you can see it's actually dual fan cooling the system, which is extremely great. These fans, I think it's 120 millimeters. I'm not quite sure, don't quote me on that, but yeah, they're two fans. You find them on PCs, but yeah, you can see them very clearly. On the other side, you can actually notice that they have a heat sink spread out all the way through the body of the Vl-300 itself, making it should be cooling very well. For my test, I actually didn't have any problems of overheating, and although they still are warm to the touch once you shut it down after using for about an hour, they are still quite cool and well done for them. Next, for the Nanlite on the other hand, it's a little bit different. So half the body is actually used up by the control module itself, whereas the other half is for ventilation. So you can probably see where it's what's gonna be the results. But anyways, as you can see right here, the front of the body has a singular fan at the bottom. However, do note that this fan is slightly bigger than the Vl-300, but then again, it only stands for half the body. And on the other side is the giant heat sink, pretty much the same concept as how they designed the Vl-300, whereas this is the FS-300. I will understand why they decided to do it in this pattern, whereas half the module is a power unit and a control unit, because of all the functions and the processors inside. So yeah. Alright, lastly, let's talk about the noise it produces. In the noise department, we have to give our hands to the Godox, because they designed it so well, it's nearly perfect silent, whereas the Nanlite FS-300 runs like a jet engine. Now, you know what, let's have a listen to the audio so you guys can actually make your conclusions of it. So in conclusion, what do I think about this two light? I would say that this is pretty much shows that you get what you pay for. So you probably realize that these two lights pretty much the same. They're 300 watt lights. They provide a lot of functions, maybe one more than the other. However, you have to understand that the Nanlite FS-300 is half the price of the Godox Vl-300. So the shortcomings are to be expected when you're paying that cheap. The manufacturer is still a business, they still want to make profit. However, I would say that if you are the type to shoot indoors and do not need to go out to do any type of shoot, and you pretty much want to lower your cost as much as possible, and you still need that 300 watt light, I would suggest to going with the Nanlite FS-300, because it is just that good. In my opinion, 1,500 ringgit for a 300 watt light is a bargain. Not to mention the abundance of function it provides, and of course the ease of usage. You only have the light itself and the cable. You don't have any excess gigabits like the Godox Vl-300 has. However, I wouldn't say that the Godox Vl-300 is not good. It's an excellent light. However, they each have their own uses. The Godox Vl-300, in my opinion, I would say that they are perfect for users who goes on large jobs and outside interviews. If you're just a YouTuber like me, you don't necessarily need these things unless you made it to a certain level. For me, I normally stay indoors, I rarely go outdoors, and when I do go outdoors, it's normally in the day when it's the sun is shining or overcast like today, so it's pretty much functional for me. The Godox Vl-300 provide with the VL mount for the battery is extremely convenient if you go outside. However, if you stay indoors, you can just stay with the Nanlite FS-300. And if you're worried about the noise it makes, maybe, you know, you put the mic closer to your mouth like this. So yeah, these are, I would say that in conclusion, these two are a very good example of you get what you pay for. Anyways, that's it for today's video. I hope you guys aren't bored, are still here by now, because this is a really long video. I do a very in-depth comparison between the two. If you ask me, are these two, which one is better? I would say that it depends. It depends. Like I already explained it before, it depends on you. For me, I would stick with the Nanlite FS-300 because the Godox Vl-300 is a little bit overkill for me. I probably get a remote for it just because I like top-down lighting. However, for now, this is perfect for me. And anyways, I hope this video helped you guys out. And if you guys have friends or you are actually looking for lights that is 300 watt at a certain price point, I hope this video helps you guys out. Maybe share it with your friends that really wants to look at lights like these as well. Anyways, do remember, if you guys like this video, do like and subscribe, hit the notification bell button down below, and of course that will really help me out. And of course, don't forget, if you guys got any question, do comment down below. I'd be love to answer you guys for it. Anyway, it's your boy CJ, and I'll see you guys next video.